Welcome to the HEX Late Show. It's 43 OG here with you on a Tuesday evening. I've got, I think I've got someone coming along in a few minutes. Welcome to everyone in the chat. I know that a lot of you guys were away over the weekend in Sydney. There was an Australian HEX meetup that Sammy Chicker put together. Yeah, from the photos that I saw, you guys look like you had a ball. There was a live stream that was done. I think it was on RH Max's channel. And yeah, so looks like to me, it looked like you guys had a lot of fun. But I'm hoping a few of you will tell us about it, perhaps in the chat. Yeah, so what's been going on, people? What has been going on? I've got a couple of clips lined up that I would like to play. Just in, let me see. Let me just go bring it up. I've got one here from. I've got one here that I think we may have seen it like maybe 2 or 3, maybe a few weeks ago. But it is such a good clip, and it's a Ray Dalio clip, and I just want to. It's a quick one. It goes for 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to play it, and this is really for anyone who's not sure, like, why are we in cryptocurrency? We ask. I mean, we look at the prices, and I guess sometimes we might think to ourselves, like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this again? So hopefully these clips can tie a bit of that together.
In which the world order is going to change.
Yes, we're changing the world order. Okay. In 1945, we started the new world order. What I mean is, throughout history, there's a fight for control because there's no world court that you go to and plead your case. And so there's a fight for power. So there's a war, and then the winners come out of that war, and the winners set the rules. And so 1945, the United States had 80% of the world's money. Gold was money at the time. It had half the world's GDP. It had a monopoly on military power. So the U.S. set the world order. That's why the United Nations is in New York. Washington, D.C. has the IMF and the World Bank.
And its currency became the reserve currency.
And its currency became the reserve currency because of that set of circumstances. Okay, things evolve. Things change, okay, over history. So the 3 big things that are changing now that haven't occurred in our lifetime is the amount of debt and money creation, which affects the value of money, and you can see it affecting what's going on every day.
Large debt means the printing of money.
Right. The large debt puts central bankers in a choice. Do you pay it back with hard money, or do you pay it back with printed devalued money? And if you pay it back with hard money, it's hard. In other words, that's when you have debt crises. So in all cases, they eventually print money, and that produces inflation, right? So that dynamics, the first...
And that's the place we are at this moment.
That's the place we are at this moment. Okay. And we'll talk about that.
We'll drill down on that.
In a minute. The second is when there's a great internal conflict, usually when there's a large wealth and values gap, and at the same time as you have a financial problem. Then you get populism of the left and populism of the right. In other words, those who feel disenfranchised want people who are going to fight for them. They don't want compromisers. They don't want them to be in the middle, because middle means that they're not fighting for them. They want them to have guts. So that you have populists of the left and populists
and their positions harden.
And their positions harden, and there are no compromises. That's why we're potentially in a situation that you could see in one of these elections, maybe in 2024, that neither side would accept losing. Perhaps we see that. Maybe you don't follow the rulings of the Supreme Court. Anyway.
That's a serious question today.
So these things have not happened in our lifetime, but they happened many times in history. So if you look at that, you see from those patterns why the gaps become greater and the positions harden, and you see the dynamic. So that's the second. And the third is the rise of a great power to challenge the existing great power. In other words, I gave you the example of how the United States was so dominant in 1945. Now it's not as dominant. It is not dominant. In other words, China and the opposition is as strong as the United States and its allies. And so we have a conflict. And there are 5 kinds of wars. And they start in this order, just sequentially, typically. A trade war, a technology war, a geopolitical influence war, Then you get into a capital and economic warfare, which we are now with sanctions. They always happened in history. And then there's a military war. And so you could see that progression happen through time. And that creates a template. So I like to look at the template and then plot dots to see how we're transpiring relative to that template.
There you go. So we're currently in a capital and economic war, according to Ray Dalio. And the next thing on the list, military war. Which I think if we look at what's going on in the world over the last couple of years, you can see how we could progress into such a thing in the coming years. So I want to tie this in with so we're, I guess the point of that is where things are changing, and I want to tie that into this clip from Majid Nawaz from when he spoke to Jordan Peterson.
The Uyghur situation shocked me to my core. And I saw a coming technocracy and how it can enslave an entire people. And then when COVID hit, I had already, because I don't know if you followed any of it, and forgive me again, this is not to boast in any way, but I did a 4-day hunger strike for the Uyghur Muslims, complaining of the Chinese Communist Party's treatment of and disrespect of their heritage. They could have been Tibetan Buddhists. They could have been Chinese Christians. And in many campaigns I've involved in, they have been for not just Muslims, right? That's why I'm making that point. But it shocked me to my core because I saw a coming technocracy and what's possible with the end result of the direction of travel that certain people through their dialectical materialism would like to take us to. And that's what I call the technocratic tyranny. So then by the time COVID came, I had already been shocked to a point where I left my work. I was on a live show and I went on a 4-day silent hunger strike, risking being cancelled at that point. But thankfully, that isn't what got me cancelled. But by the time COVID came, I was already primed. And my own experiences had started on a new journey post, not just from post-prison, but post even everything I've done in the last 10 years. That evolution had to carry on because I had to look at myself and see what things have I participated in my own last 10 years of campaigning that could have perhaps helped that technocratic train along its tracks, whether unwittingly or not. And I realized, for example, I've said things like, these nations are undemocratic, they don't have democracy inherent to their cultural traditions, which is probably true. And I say these here, referring any non-democratic nation, I'm not singling anyone out here. Probably true that they didn't have, but then I realized that during COVID, if the very people that were peddling this myth that we are in charge of our own destiny, those very people locked roughly 70% of the world into their homes until they consented to a forced injection. Those very same people could turn off your money supply just because you were protesting out on the streets of Ottawa. And I realized...
we've noticed that. We've noticed that in Canada.
Indeed.
They can do
so
that.
I realized
half of Canadians think that's a good idea, by the way.
Crazy, right? But I realized I had been unwittingly participating in the problem. It's why I'm explaining it in this way, to say I've also been on a journey in that way, to realize that I had been participating in a problem because my belief up until that point was that there were certain countries in the world that were under tyranny and that others that were free. And the truth is, there are certain countries in the world that are under the illusion of freedom and the rest of the world is under tyranny. And the illusion of freedom is still, okay, comfortable. But you better bet that when they want to turn off your food supply, your money, your ability to trade and buy and sell, Agenda 2030, Jordan, have a look at it. Their ideal is zero meat consumption by 2030.
I know. No cars,
So what do you guys think? I've just played a couple of clips that I think tie into the world we're moving into, and you could see the gentleman talking there, Majid Nawaz. He was talking about what China had done with the Uyghur Muslims. What they had done is they had put cameras everywhere, and they'd set up facial recognition cameras that could actually pick up on the unique features of the Uyghur Muslim people. They had certain features like physical certain facial features. So their systems could actually pick up on that race of people, and they used that to round them up. So all of this stuff is stuff that we should be aware of. I mean, we've seen, and some of you may not be aware of what's gone down in the UK. They've actually got people in the UK. They've got video cameras being erected all over the certain areas, and you've got, I think they're called blade runners, people going around and cutting down these cameras with angle grinders, in an act of defiance, because they don't want these sorts of things. So, hang on, let me just see. Hex tangent, you need the link. Have you not got the link, mate? Let me see. Let me see if I can send you the link. Just 1 second. Where are we? Okay, try that one. I think that link that I put in might be a double link. It looks like it's the same link twice in one link. Just looking at it. Check out the one I've just sent you. Tell me how that goes. Yeah, so I think when we're looking at all this sort of stuff, I think this answers the question of, like, ultimately why, or it's the best reason I can think of why we should be in crypto, because it gives us a way of operating, in society, potentially, if things were to get bad, that does not rely 100% on governments. So we'd be able to trade with each other, because I guess if they can control your money, just like Majid was saying, if they can control the money and cut off, what you can go and buy, they can say, oh, you can't have any of this, or you can't have any of that. Well, that's sort of like that's sort of we're going into some, a level of communism there. That's like in Russian countries in the post World War I Russian countries, World War II Russian countries, like in that area where there just wasn't enough of anything, and the idea was that everything we have is going to be rationed out. Well, that's ultimately what's happening. I mean, your own money, you wouldn't be able to spend it in the way that you want to. You'd have governments deciding what was okay to spend, what wasn't okay to spend. Let me just bring up Tangent here. G'day, mate. How are you?
Hey, yeah, it was never your money. It was never your money. It was never my money. It was never our money. It was always their money, and we were allowed, like, it was always permissioned.
Exactly. And
people just didn't realize it was permissioned, because most of the time the permission is granted. So it doesn't become apparent that it is a permission system until the day that you wake up and you can't access your shit because your name is Andrew Tate, or that Brexit guy, Russian oligarchs, like, and even though they shout from the rooftops, they're like, hey, these mofos took my money, everyone just thinks, oh, that won't happen to me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't have anything to fear. Actually,
and up until quite recently, a lot of people, like, still paid in cash. So cash was a thing up until, and when I say recently, let's say 10 years ago. Up until 10 years ago, cash was still, like, people would walk around with cash.
Yep.
And it was normal. hardly anyone walks around with cash. Like I mean, it used to be that, like I have an outlet, and it used to be that some people would come in, older people usually, who didn't trust the card. They would come in and they would pay in cash because they didn't want to. They're like, I don't trust it. They didn't trust swiping a card.
Yeah.
But like nowadays, nobody pays in cash. It is zero. Like when I say zero, I mean nobody. Everyone, even if it's for
even if you go
like
to examples
$10.
like at a market stall or strippers, or like everyone, even if they've just got like a small business where they're mobile, now they've got those mobile tap and pay devices. So, which effectively they got forced to end up using. If you're in one of those situations, like a farmer's market or like you're a stripper or something, you had to end up using that because people kept saying, oh, I've only got card. And so you effectively become forced that you're going to lose sales if you don't transfer over to the cashless society. So it was, it's all bad, man.
And we've done it to ourselves because it's so damn convenient. That's the thing. They made it so damn convenient. But one thing that's not convenient is the 2 to 3% charge.
One thing that's not convenient is like having all your money taken off you. Literally just being shut down financially. That's pretty inconvenient.
Yeah, that too. So I was just going through why, like, when you look at where prices have been. I mean, even though we've had a little bit of pump in crypto in the last 24 hours, you look at where, like, generally where prices are in crypto.
Yeah.
And so you might ask yourself, why am I in crypto again? And I wanted to like just touch on a couple of like macro reasons why we're in crypto. We're in crypto because we need other options. We need other options that no government or big business is going to give us, because that's the new oligarchy, like big business and government working together, not really caring about what's in the best interests of the average person. Just looking for profit. We've seen that through COVID. We've seen what Big Pharma has done with government. I'm not going to go into that because I don't really want to talk about that on this channel. But generally speaking, I think that this is why we're in here. One thing that Adam Stokes, I hear him say, people come for the Lambos and stay for the revolution.
I used to say that it's a bait and switch. It's a bait and switch. You come for the mad gains and then you stay for the revolution.
Yeah.
If you've got half a brain. Yeah. So it's a beautiful bait and switch. That's the best part about crypto, is that because even if that, I used to always say, even if it's only a small percentage of people that end up staying out of, so the new school of that bull market come in, most of them get wrecked and leave. But even if you've got like 5 to 10% that actually stay, then each cycle you end up with more diamond-handed, convicted crypto enthusiasts. And so that's the real growth curve. That's the real adoption curve, is the one that underlies all of those spikes that happen through the bull market. I just want to add to what you were saying before, that it was particularly painful to see crypto assets going down, knowing that the fiat funny money is fake as fuck, and you're seeing your quality assets go down against something that you know is bullshit. So in the bull market, you're kind of like, this is sick. Like, this is legit, that these things are worth more and more and more, because this fiat money is basically going to go to zero. But then when it goes the other way around, you're like, this is bullshit, man. Like, as in, I'm getting double effed here. My assets are going down against a currency which is full of shit. And so you're getting double effed, and it's just, it's not a nice feeling.
Yeah. And after a couple of years as well of it happening.
Oh yeah. It's relentless. Fortunately, we won't have to go through that for another few more years. Like now we're basically in the firmly in the bull market.
It feels like we're going up. It feels like we're going up.
We are going up.
It feels, I mean, not necessarily in altcoins, but like definitely in...
Yeah, Bitcoin's been going up all year. I keep having to fight people on this. It's crazy to me. Like, people are like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, hopefully the bear market ends soon. I'm like, dude, go and look at a Bitcoin chart. It's been going up literally all calendar year. We're 10 months in. What more, like, when are you going to admit it's a bull market? And this is not aimed at you, by the way. This is like, it's crazy to me. I admit that
I've got a bull avatar.
The sentiment is still bearish for sure, but that's perfect. That's what you want. You want the market to climb the wall of worry. So a bearish sentiment keeps me even more bullish. But if you look at the chart, it is a bull market, like, just by definition. You can't go up for a year on the dominant asset in the asset class and say that it's in a bear market. That's insanity.
And that's the point. And that's the important point that we need to drill in on.
And by the way, I've been saying that all year. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that retrospectively, like where it's easy now.
You have been.
Like, now it should be super obvious to anyone that we're in a bull market. But I've been saying it since basically the start of the year. Yeah. Although, actually, I'll admit I'm a perma bull. So, as in, it's kind of cheating, because, like, if you're always bullish, then once you're in the bull market, you're going to be like, I see, I was right the entire time.
Yeah. Just like, even what is it? Even a clock that doesn't work is right twice.
Yeah, broke clock is right twice a day or whatever. Yeah.
No, I'm not, and I'm not suggesting
a broke clock. I agree.
Yeah.
So it works both ways, right? Perma bears are going to look so right in the bear market, and they're going to look like they were right from the start of the bear market. And perma bulls are going to look like they're right all bull market. So, I mean,
there used to be a chat room called HEX Bear that got shut down.
Yeah,
it got shut down. There was one called HEX Bear that was like, I remember I used to hang out in it a little bit just to see what was going on. Didn't really, and it was weird. Thinking back, it was like when we were going up, like it was in the first, it got shut down, I think in 2021, but it was there the whole time from.
So what, it got shut at the top? Like,
it got shut down. No, it got shut down in early 2021, I think, or around that time, maybe.
I would need to look at a chart to know whether that was that before or after the peak, or like, do you have an idea?
No, it was got shut down before, because it was clear that we were in a we were in a
so
bull,
right when people needed it the most, like right when people needed to be told, hey, look, shit can dip, is when they took the fucking group away. Fuck.
No, it's because it was before it, where it was like really going up hard. It was like when it's just because they were just fudding so hard, because everyone, like, there was a group of people in there that were just fudding really, really, really hard.
You know that Richard started that group. I remember him saying, if you want to talk bearish about HEX, we've got a group for that as well.
Go in here. It might still exist. The group might still exist, actually.
Bro,
I just
I'd be
remember
scared to look in it. Dude, I'd be legitimately scared to look in it.
What, at your chat logs?
No. In terms of like what would be said.
You hadn't been in there, right?
Yeah.
What's been said in there for the last couple of years? Hey, I've got a clip here from your stream with RG3. I'm going to play it really quickly, just so that if people are interested in what you guys are talking about, they can go back and check it out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that stream. This is where the PulseChain is going to be, where this next bull market. I don't think that any other chain has anything as good as Proteus in terms of a DEX aggregator and smart routing. I don't think that the other chains have got a version of liquid loans where as much care has been put into the auditing and the structure and the design, the aesthetics. I don't think that other chains have got, like, you can probably think of some other examples. Like, I don't think, like, no other chains have got the Tang gang. I don't think that any other chains have got
organic
the NFT, like the NFT communities that have the genuine artists and the genuine, like, passionate communities that surround and patronize those artists.
And it's truly decentralized. I'm working with a group right now that is upset with another L1 that's out there because there's an organization involved. There's people involved. And they're not treating them well.
That's a deal breaker to me. Yeah.
And why do I have to deal with a corporation and people within that corporation if I'm going to try and do something decentralized? If I'm trying to bring my art to something decent. I just need the tool. I don't need human beings jumping in the middle of it. And the only thing I need other human beings for is to help me promote what I'm doing. That's all I need them for. I need them to help bring me in, to show me some love and show me how to do this. And that's what you guys in the Tang gang are doing. They're coming to this project that that has come to me, and they're going, hey.
Oh yeah. How much of that are you allowed to talk about?
Just a little bit. And
bro, it's been announced now. I was before this stream, I was thinking, oh shit, because this is a HEX stream, and this is technically it is linked to HEX in the sense that HOA stands for HEX orange address. But other than that, it's not technically HEX. But dude, this is such big news. I think we have to drop it. So this is public now. In fact, no, I didn't actually get told ahead of schedule, like really, like not by much, compared to everyone else. It was kept secret just for the deal to be finalized, so that they weren't talking about it until these girls agreed to it. But basically, what has happened is Playboy chicks that were working for Playboy decided they didn't like the change of management when Hugh Hefner died, and it got taken over by like sort of like a corporate control rather than him being solely in control. So they like loved his shit, and they didn't like this new corporate sort of structure. So they decided to go independent. And so those girls have created their own thing called Rogue Bunnies. So it's a throwback to the fact that they used to be Playboy bunnies. Mm-hmm. And it's like most of them have gone from Playboy to this. It's like 70 of like the main chicks that were in that company. And they are going to be releasing NFTs in collaboration with the Tang gang. So if anyone out there still thinks that the Tang gang is not like taking over, I think you might need to take another look like at what we're doing. It's fucking, and I say we now, like I'm gonna take partial credit that I had nothing to do with, but I guess so many people have told me that I'm a part of the Tang gang, both internally and externally, whereas I never really saw it that way. I just thought it's a community, people can choose to participate or not. Yes, I was participating, but I didn't see myself as like a deep Tang gang member, or like more of a member than the HEX or PulseChain community, or any of the other communities that I respect within PulseChain, like Patias, and there are other communities that you see what I'm saying? Like, as in, I'm not like, oh yeah, man, I am such a diehard member of this community. But anyway, it's massive. This is possibly the biggest thing to hit. Crypto,
dude, people like boobs. People love boobs.
No, yeah, like exactly. And it's such a.
I mean, let's cut to the chase. This is what we're talking about.
But how's the narrative though? It's like it's a story that fits crypto so well. It's a story of of overarching corporate fucking tyranny, and the break away from that to independence. The narrative itself just fits with crypto so perfectly. By the way, I just thought of this myself. Like this was not told to me.
I'm actually partial to pixelated like cartoons of boobies, because when I was younger.
What do you mean pixelated though? I don't think it's gonna be like
no, because if it's like is it punk NFT type? So
no, I think it's gonna be photos of them.
Right.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
My do you know what I thought? I just thought like, oh, it's going to be like those punks.
Oh,
like
but then they would just be leveraging the brand. I think this is actually
when I was tangent, I got to tell you this. When I was younger, when computers were shit and pixelated boobies was the best you could get. I used to play like strip poker on an Apple IIe, which was only one. It was black and green. The screen was black and green. So I'd play strip poker on that. Right, and then
the screen
when I was a bit
black
older,
and green, but was it text only?
No, it was like
image.
It was dots. Yeah, image.
I don't even understand how that would work.
It's just 2-color image, like.
Oh, okay. Could you?
So
and you could see the other person pixels. Reasonably, like you could make out that it was a person.
I could, yeah, you could make out that you're playing like the Yeah, you could make out that the you're playing with a woman who would then get undressed if you beat her.
Oh wait, was it a real chick or was it just a game? Like, as in, was it?
No, this was like on an Apple IIe. You're playing like
Oh,
floppy
so this
disk.
wasn't online. You're not playing
in.
against a real human,
bro.
You're,
This is Apple IIe.
I don't
This
even know what that is.
Like,
I probably should. Apple IIe.
Apple IIe, dude. This is in like 1991 or
because
something.
I should know this. I'm quite familiar. Like I know enough about like old tech, but I've just don't know this particular.
Do you remember? What about Leisure Suit Larry?
That rings a bell.
Yeah. So that sort of thing. That's probably more in the NFT punks type. So that's what I was thinking about.
You know what? I never saw one of these computers. I think I saw I definitely remember seeing the next gen of Apple after this, maybe, where it was like still very boxy. But what do you remember what the code, like the model code was for the model after this?
No.
Okay.
Apple
like
2F.
So
I don't...
before they turned it into an all-in-one thing, there was a model. There was the all-in-one ones, and then one model back from that. It was a very boxy-looking Apple. I remember seeing one of those, but I've never seen this. I've never seen this in real life, only in pictures.
You've never seen an Apple IIe?
I've never seen an Apple IIe. Maybe we were just poor, dude. Like I don't know. Like,
we didn't have one at our house. We just had one at work. It was really, it's like we actually had it set up in a network, believe it or not, with machinery back in the 90s. It was like in a network with machinery. We used to load programs onto the machine. Like, this is industrial machinery. We used to load programs onto the industrial machinery using the Apple IIe with floppy disks back in the day.
I remember I remember the floppy disks that were actually floppy, the 5 1/4 ones, and then after that they had hard ones that they were still called floppy disks, even though they were hard.
Yeah,
there's 3.5 inch or whatever. So, dude, getting back on topic. I'm only going on what I saw in the Tang Gang chat, which is like the pictures that I think is the art, and it's actually going to be photos of the girls. I don't think they're just leveraging the brand to create like pixel NFT shit. It's going to be pictures of the actual girls. So this is their way of like monetizing the photos that would normally go into the Playboy magazines. They're effectively going peer to peer, right? You buy the photos of them like you would buy when you buy the magazine, but it's the digital equivalent. It's the NFT. Obviously, if people want to know more, the place to go is to the. In fact, Bullish tells me now the better way to do it is we promote the actual website, and then people can choose where to go from there, whether they want to join the Telegram or whatever. So it's hexoacoin.com is the website. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. Like, we went from getting the attention of global companies to actually creating a collaboration with them. And by the way, and this is the last thing I'll say about it because it's not technically HEX, but by the way, the Tang Gang offered them to say, hey, we can show you, not me, but like the people in the Tang Gang said, we are willing to show you everything that you need to know for you to do it yourself, completely for free, so that you can have 100% ownership, and the only thing we would want in return is a shout out, like that we were instrumental in helping you to do it all completely yourselves. Or if you think that we can bring something to the table in terms of how much we fucking light up the timeline and how much additional awareness you would have if it was a true collaboration, then we're cool with that too. And they chose the latter. They were like, yeah, we don't want to compete with you guys for attention on the timeline. Playboy models said they do not want to compete with us for attention on the timeline, bro. Like,
that's crazy, dude.
Crazy.
So do we have like, do we know who these
I mean, it's
are?
basically all of them. It's like there's 70 girls. So it's but if people want to see the I think they're now joining the Tang Gang Telegram to discuss how to do it and stuff like that. And also, so if you guys want to actually be aware of when they're going to launch it, they've got their own Twitter now. I think the Tang Gang helped them set that up. Maybe. I'm not sure about that. And so either their Twitter or the Tang Gang Telegram.
So I wanted to like very, very quickly touch on something that has happened in the last week that we'll just touch on it quickly. We don't have to, stay on it, but there was a bit of dissing that went on the F and Hangout. It's someone in the community came on and was, talking some shit, which I personally, I don't think is, I think you can, I don't see the point, but I have a problem with first of all, I have a problem with anyone calling out my bros or broettes from the Hex Late Show. I got a problem with that, So I anyone doing that, you're making an enemy in me automatically, because these guys and girls are my bros and my broettes. So, and I stick by them 100%. Secondly, I think you're coming at it the wrong way. I mean, why don't you ask for a debate? Like, why don't you debate whether or not the Tang Gang's approach is the correct approach to get adoption? Coming out that's the angle. You could make an argument. You could say, oh, well, I don't think that this approach is the right approach, right? And then you can make your arguments, right?
Yeah.
But I don't believe that just coming out and calling people bitches and this and that. I don't see how any of that is helpful in any way.
Yeah, it's something that I've generally spoken against in principle for nearly forever. That assuming that the best way to do everything is usually not correct, right? So unfortunately, we cannot live on two timelines at once. We can't do it two different ways and then compare what worked out best. So it boils down to an unwinnable argument, right? They're saying, oh, it would have been better if you had done it like this. And you can't prove them wrong perfectly.
Yes.
But you can point to some pretty strong evidence that shows that they are likely
This is a problem with
incorrect.
doing scientific, like medical studies and medical trials. You can't, unless you've got
You can't
twins,
eliminate all variables. Exactly.
unless you've got
that's exactly
twins,
right.
one with the issue and one without the issue, and they're living the exact same. You can't
those
possibly know.
cofactors get too complicated for you to be able to actually know with full certainty. But you can get to a point where it's like statistically significant. So, I mean, I've noticed there's been a lot of lately. There's been a lot of like weirdos coming out of the woodwork that I just didn't notice before. So I don't know. It's strange. I don't let it bother me. Like, as in the I mean he got lit up, and that was not my request. Like, as in, I didn't ask anyone to rush to my defense or anything like that. He got lit the fuck up. But
don't you think that if there's like someone who has a different opinion about how to go about doing something, like debate?
Absolutely.
I mean, the argument here is, this is the argument. Like, how are we going to get, how do we get adoption to PulseChain? Because we don't want PulseChain to be like this empty chain. We want it to be full of all sorts of shit happening, because Hex is one part. And I think a lot of us would agree that we think it would be great if people eventually find Hex and find their way into Hex. But your path, my path of getting into Hex is different to your path of getting into Hex and the next person. So the next person and other people out there, their path of getting in may not appeal to them, hearing that marketing campaign, that Hex marketing campaign, that may not appeal to them. Maybe they need to do some other things. Maybe they need to play out whatever they're interested in crypto first, and then find Hex. But as far as PulseChain goes, how are you going to get people into PulseChain if all that people in the community are allowed to do is talk about one thing and do one thing?
Yeah.
So how people
can I drop an
stuff?
analogy? Can I drop an analogy to what you're talking about? To me, I see it as, say someone comes into a car dealership, and this is just an analogy, so it's not going to be perfect. But if someone comes into a car dealership and the car dealer is doing like the soft sell where they're saying, hey, look, hey, take a look around, whatever. And then that person decides to not buy the car. And the owner of the car dealership comes out and he's like, man, why didn't you put more pressure on them? Why didn't you say like, buy, you should absolutely buy this car? And the salesman's like, look, dude, I don't think that's a good strategy, because typically when you put that kind of pressure on people and you're like, buy this shit, this is the shit, buy this car. They're just like, whoa, dude, like they just, people don't like that pushy vibe anymore with sales tactics. That might have worked like old school, like real old school. And so I think what he's suggesting is that style of like pushy, there is one option, this is the car for you, you will fucking buy this car. And our shit is the like much more broad, a much more vibrant dealership with much better options, cars that are actually just objectively dank. And then you let people decide what they want. And then there'll be a percentage of people who do actually buy the car that you are trying to sell. Like, so you're just creating a better environment for people to want to buy cars. So, and you're just going to end up being statistically better off. That's just my opinion. Yeah. So,
I mean, and the thing that I always come back to is which community is going to be using PulseChain if we're not supposed to be doing anything apart from that one thing. And let me just say, I only like I'm very, very, very high percentage HEX, right?
Yeah,
and
same.
I don't no, but I don't even, I'm not in the Tang gang. I don't do it. I haven't got a problem with it. I think you guys are doing, like, you're doing your thing. Like, I like to see things happening. You know what I mean? I could very easily flip into Tang gang. I'll just change my name to 43 OJ and it's done.
Oh, dude,
right?
that would be sick.
But I'm not doing it. I'm not because.
Oh, you will. No, I'm just kidding.
No, do you know what it is? It's just, I'm just, I don't have the time. I don't have the time and the space in my mind to worry about it. But, there's plenty of other people doing that. And you guys don't need my old ass in there. No,
dude, you would be a welcome community member. So do you remember when Jexa, obviously you guys know he's usually on this channel. He'll be here later. He'll likely be here later before we finish. He actually made an interesting comment that wasn't specifically related to this, but I'm going to apply it here. It's like, when people have this scarcity mindset, they have this attitude like, oh, every network participant only has like this tiny amount of money to allocate. And if they don't spend it on HEX, like if they go and buy some other coin, then it's those dollars didn't get bought on HEX, right? That is retarded. Most people have much more ability to buy crypto than what they actually allocate. Like, I'm all in, and there are several other people I know that are like all in on crypto, but that is rare as fuck. Most people are not fully allocated to crypto. So if they come to crypto, they find this community. They're like, this is dope. Like, I'm having a lot of fun. These guys seem chill. And they're buying like HOA or whatever, and they're part of the Tang gang. They're going to hear the story of like the backstory of why it's called HOA. And they're going to be like, oh, it's the HEX orange address. What's this? And then they're like, and they could very likely, this is plausible, that they could go, oh, well, that's like the blue chip asset that this meme coin is based on. It almost seems silly for me to not be exposed to at least a bit of this. Like the same way people who came into HEX and then they decided to also buy Bitcoin. So HEX was their first coin, but then they were like, maybe I should own some of the like OG coin. And that did them very well because Bitcoin survived better through the bear market, right? The people that took that attitude of like, hey, maybe I should have some exposure to the one that is still very dominant within the ecosystem, right? So that same relative attitude could happen between HOA to HEX, where people are like, I really like this one. This one's my favorite, but it seems like a good idea for me to have some exposure to the OG version of this or whatever, right? Like the OG, the thing that this was born out of. Because let's be clear, the Tang gang would not exist if it was not for HEX. Bullish made that comment when I was streaming with RG3, right? It's the community, the name of it, the backstory, all of that shit. If HEX didn't exist, Tang gang wouldn't exist. That's facts. So, and so it's the same thing, right? It's like the origin story. It's like there was Bitcoin. That's what started the whole industry. Then HEX came as like a trustless interest, an actual true DeFi product. And then the HOA was born out of that. So, yeah, like I agree with what you're saying, that it would be much smarter if someone thought that they had genuine ideas that they wanted to put forward, or if they wanted to win us over and convince us that we're actually doing it wrong, calling us bitches and saying that we're scammers and shit like that. So absolutely. Dude, do you think that a group of people that are convicted and create memes all day long are going to be convinced by someone saying you guys are scamming bitches? That is an appropriate strategy to change their minds.
That's sort of.
It should have been a debate. It should have been like, hey, Tangent, by the way, I'm known for debating people. Like RG3 brought up that I've debated Richard Hart. So it's not like I would say no to it. If he had said, Tangent, fight me, like verbally fight me on this, debate me, the answer would have been hell yes. Like there's no way I would back down from that.
And
he knows he'd get crushed. He knows that it would just be
you guys having you're sifting through and seeing like, is this something that like, and maybe you'll see each other's point of view by going through that.
Do you know what? Do you know what? When I debated Furu Finance about the when they were doing PHEX maxi shit, right? I didn't change my mind, even though I changed many people in his audience's mind. People were DMing me and publicly saying, dude, you've actually changed my mind on this, to my side of it. However, there were aspects of it that I was more able to see his side of it. So I could see where he was coming from. And it was clear to me that he was not doing it with malice, and he was not doing it to try and like manipulate people's behaviors or to try and make money or any shit like that. That he had genuine concerns and he was able to articulate them to me. So my position changed from being like, I don't know whether this person is like malicious or stupid, to, oh, this person has good intentions. I still don't agree with what they're saying. I'm still firmly on my side of this. And so dude, you are 100% right that he would have had an opportunity to at least present to us that he's not being a dick, but instead he did the opposite of that and proved that he is being a dick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it's like also calling people bitches on stream. It's weak.
It's not accurate language either. It's like,
yeah.
One of his biggest claims, which is wild to me, because I can say with 100% certainty that this is not true. He accuses me and others of being paid shills for Magic Carpet Ride, and that he has proof. Now, I know that this proof doesn't exist because that statement is factually incorrect. Like, I have never been paid a fucking cent by Magic Carpet Ride. And by the way, I have never shilled their shit at all, like really at all. Like, as in, I don't have a history of really promoting their stuff. So if you were going to come up with a conspiracy theory that Tangent is a paid shill for a crypto ecosystem within PulseChain or external PulseChain or whatever, shouldn't you at least pick one that there's actually a record of me actively shilling that shit? Like, it doesn't make any damn sense. Like, and so yeah. I told him, I'm like, dude, because he's like, he's always threatening to release this proof. He's like, I'll release the proof. And I'm like, motherfucker, you need to release that proof or shut the fuck up, because I am not scared of this proof, because A, I know it doesn't exist, and B, I want you to shut up. Like, I want you to present what you have, because I'm interested to see this proof that doesn't exist. So
yep.
I ended up, and this will be the last thing I say on it, but I landed in a position where I'm like, there's only three options. There are only really three options for me, and in terms of an assessment of what is going on here. This person is either fucking delusional, like fully out of their fucking mind, or they are deliberately trying to create these fights and verbal fights and timeline fights to get engagement.
I think there's another option.
Or they are like, well, you haven't heard my third one yet. Or they, what was the third one? Like, it's like someone's lied to them and convinced them. Like,
I believe, dude, I believe that
Gavin or whatever.
Yeah, I believe that he believes what he's saying is right. Like,
it can't be. The proof about me being a shill for Magic Cover, he can't. He knows he doesn't have the proof because that proof doesn't exist. Like,
well, maybe he thinks his proof holds more weight than it does. Like, whatever it is.
But what proof? It doesn't exist. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So unless someone has fed him like fake evidence, like some kind of fucking out of context chat or something, but yeah, my position is he needs. So we've said to him, dude, we're not scared of. So stop threatening to release it. We want you to. Like, bring it, like, release the shit publicly. Let's do this so that we can put this to rest. And he won't do it. So I think that makes it pretty obvious. If both sides are saying, like, he's threatening to do it and we're saying, fucking bring it, do it, then the fact that he's not doing it, I think that means, like, that's pretty clear that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my position on it. It's like, proof or shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, we need PulseChain. We need adoption on PulseChain.
Yeah.
How are we going to get adoption on PulseChain? How? And there's having communities doing stuff like movers and shakers, getting stuff done. There's a gravity to that attracts people. People like it. They want to get involved. And guess what? If you get involved, you got to buy Pulse, don't you? You sort of need to buy Pulse if you're coming in from the outside.
We've got multiple multi-chain arms of the Tang gang now, where there's like guys that create, and I won't name the chains and I won't name the projects, but they've got projects that cross chain. Now, some of these are a little bit clunky. They're not, so it's not a true cross chain experience because it's like, as an example, they've manually airdropped the same NFTs onto the other chain or something like that. So it's not a true sort of like, there's no layer zero bridge there that's bringing that shit, and you can't, there's not necessarily an interrelation yet, but it just shows the desire for it. And, you know, one of the examples is if someone on the other chain at some point decides that they want to create some kind of like collaboration or bridge or something like that, what project do you think they're going to do it with? A project that's already demonstrated that they're eager to do cross-chain shit, or some other project that is just like completely insulated and doesn't look outside their own ecosystem? It's going to be PulseChain because of the Tang gang. So I'm all for it. I agree with you.
That metaverse is awesome, by the way.
The metaverse is dope. The metaverse is so dope. Shout out Fully Croissant. I forgot to shout him out because we put the metaverse.
Are they streaming? Do they stream? Do they stream us?
I should have asked them to do that. Usually I either manually do it. So I asked Bullish to put the stream I did on this channel. So by the way, the stream that Day 43 and I are talking about, where I spoke with RG3, it's on this channel. So
we're also on Discourse Syndicate tonight, but we're being simulcast on
I didn't realize
DeFi Down Under. So if you're looking for the stream where Tangent and you interviewed,
sorry, dude, I assumed we were on DeFi Down Under. Sorry, dude. Yeah.
Oh well, we are. We're streaming there as well now because we're simulcast. But you have to search DeFi Down Under, 3 words, DeFi Down Under on YouTube, and go and subscribe, and you'll find that video of Tangent and RG3, which was a great discussion.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. We've had a lot of positive feedback, dude. I think we had nearly 200 live viewers, not at once, like that wasn't the peak, but just in terms of the total number of people that came to view the stream while it was live. I think it was like high hundreds, which I thought was really good for a channel. Like, how many subs does DeFi Down Under have now? I think it's only like 800 or something.
700, 800.
700. So I thought that, dude, as a ratio for a channel that has, and obviously RG3 is a big draw card, right? Like, as in there would have been many people that wanted to come, and, you know, they've done an amazing job of promoting everything. SJ has done an incredible job of lining stuff up. I noticed he had another stream with fully croissant. So I think, I'm not sure, but I think it's possible that after that metaverse thing happened, they might have looked into it, found out that it was fully croissant that created the metaverse, and then I don't know whether that interview was already lined up or whether that was a branch off from us talking about the metaverse on our stream together.
Oh, right. It was probably already lined up.
Because literally within 24 hours, RG3 was talking to fully croissant on Discourse Syndicate. So
how did you?
I mean,
how
it's a
did
mad
that
coincidence.
Yeah. So how did that come to be? So you've almost got 400 views on that.
Dude, that's madness. That's over 50% of the number of people that are subbed to the channel have viewed that video. What the hell, bro?
You get another
huge. That's
pretty
huge.
good for our channel, and we're just a fledgling channel. It's only been like we've only started this channel really, and been promoting it this year. I think I started it maybe a couple of years ago, but I never did anything with it. I think we had like, I used it as a backup stream channel. It was just, all I did is I simulcast everything we did on Discourse Syndicate to this channel, but now we're actually doing our own. We've got like other streams that we do. You do other streams on there, and Par Excellence, he does the Friday happy hour. We do the Friday happy hour, which you join in sometimes. And there's we do. Dude, not HEX.
Can you believe that my show is on episode 10? That's insane.
You've been
going
crazy,
it's gone that quick, man. Because I've pretty much averaged one a week. I don't think I ever got to the point where I was doing more than one a week. We almost got there, and then I think it's just averaged out to roughly one a week. So I just can't believe that's like over 2 months. And it seems to me like I only just started doing it yesterday.
Yeah, time goes quickly.
Oh, so bro, we should absolutely, unless there's more things that you wanted to tie up on those topics, we should absolutely talk about the HEX price and the Bitcoin price going up. Like HEX, Ethereum HEX went up like 13%, a similar pump to what, you know how Bitcoin did that crazy too. By the way, that crazy pump where Bitcoin pumped $2,000 in a 5-minute candle, pretty much. So let's say 10 minutes. Just so in 2 5-minute candles, it pumped $2,000 from like 28K to 30K. It happened while I was on stream with RG3. So you guys got to see my live reaction where I'm just, and RG3 is just sitting there chilling, dude. Like
he was not
nonchalant. He's like, I mean, we kind of expected it. It's not that big a deal. And I'm like sitting there with I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like just absolutely losing my mind, dude. And then I said to him, which is true, I'm like, dude, I actually don't know whether I'm more shocked at this candle or the fact that you are just like not responding to it.
But you think about it, he's right, because 7.5% is nothing. I mean, I guess it's a lot for Bitcoin, but
in a 5-minute period.
No, but like when HEX moves 7.5%, no one gives a shit. You know,
like it's the largest asset in the space. It's the one with the most weight. It's the one that everyone says has got the weakest gains and no volatility anymore. Like, so I don't think it's fair to compare it to alts that have got like fucking like nearly non-existent LPs. Like, if you were to compare the liquidity globally for Bitcoin compared to anything else, I don't want to shit on HEX, but literally any other coin except maybe Ethereum, it's like, it's just non-existent, dude. Like, as in, so
let's have a look at these stats, man.
I think you have to maybe scale that and say it's 7%. Like, let's magnify that to look at, well, I mean, you just couldn't put that much money into any other coin. It would just literally go to infinite price. So
yeah.
I mean, look, I'll admit a lot of it was short liquidations as well. Like, we have to be clear here that as soon as something starts moving so aggressively, you're getting a lot of short liquidations.
It was the fake news.
A lot of
It
people
was the fake
FOMOing
news,
in.
dude.
A lot of people rushing into. Yeah, it was triggered by fake news.
Yeah, the fake news on the spot ETF, and then people worked out that it was fake, and then it just came back down.
100%.
Yeah. Let's have a look at these stats. So a Ethereum HEX T share is $100. So you can get that for 33 for a max stake length. If you stake you get a T share for stake for 10 years, $33 on Ethereum. And on PulseChain, a T share is $234 US, but same thing. You stake that for 10 years and it's going to be, what is that? 74 ish dollars, 75 bucks for per T share. So we've got 8.8 of a cent. I'd really love to see both over a cent. It still pains me to see HEX under a cent. It pains me.
Dude, do you know what I love is the fact that we were on the record from weeks ago saying, like, holy shit, I'm very panicked and FOMO-y that I need to increase my HEX bags before this thing fucking takes off. Like, I knew that this day would come where people would just recognize that, and then all it takes is like, and I know, look, this has only just started. This pump actually on HEX only just took us back to what was lost in price over the recent history. So this is not something where it's like, oh my God, it's too late now. We haven't even got to the starting line, in my opinion. This pump has just got us back to where the kind of like floor is. But my attitude is the same. I don't want to be in a position in months from now where I didn't end up with a bigger HEX bag from the price going down so much, particularly Ethereum HEX. So, and that's what we were saying, or that's what I was saying a few weeks ago, that ETH HEX was my focus and I wanted to build my bag. And now hopefully these pumps continue and we can be proven right.
Shout out to everyone in the chat, and we've got RG3 in the chat as well.
Oh, cool.
Jumped in. So
and I've pumped it into the metaverse. I've put us into the metaverse.
Oh, awesome. What's going on, metaverse? How many people you got watching? There's always like those regular three or four
people in there, and one of them's me. So it's just HEX sailing and mana. And you know, people went pretty hard at me today because I made a Twitter post that I was quite proud of. I took a long time crafting it, talking about the builders on PulseChain who have. So it was actually inspired by KG because he came into the Ethereum proof of work chat and he was like, hey guys, I'm thinking about adding Ethereum proof of work to the Internet Money Wallet if you guys think it's worth it. And lots of people immediately jumped on because they're fans of Ethereum proof of work in that chat, right? There's about 1,000 people in there. And they said, yes, keen, definitely do it. Such a great idea. Yes, much wow, let's go. And I said, man, I would personally like that because I'm a fan of this chain because it's still proof of work as a redundancy and stuff. However, I want to be completely honest with you I want to make it very clear to you that I don't think that this is necessarily going to be economically beneficial to your mission statement. That there might be things that should be higher up your priority list if you care about, you know, pushing your shit as hard as possible and adoption awareness, etc. And he said, I don't care. If you guys think it's a good idea, it's something that you guys want, I'm doing it anyway. And I was just like, holy shit, this awesome, motherfucker's here for the culture. Like, and it inspired me so much that I wrote that whole post that talked about other people, not just him, who I'd noticed had done the same. So Alex and the Maximus, so the Maximus guys, the Hedron team and stuff like that had supported other chains, that had gone cross-chain, had effectively gone to smaller communities, people within the Tang gang that were looking for this cross-chain collaboration. And I took a lot of heat for making that post and not including the NFT communities. And the reason I thought of this is because I just saw Mana in the metaverse, and she's one of the sort of most well-respected NFT artists across multiple chains. And I just said, yeah, look, I deliberately only named projects that were non-NFT because I wanted to capture the inspire the people who were more towards the sort of like HEX and PulseChain maxi. I wanted them to get around this idea. And I knew that if I had listed off all these NFT projects, here's DJ and Waffles, and here's who is fully croissant, and like all these NFT projects, that people might be turned off by that. And so, but I admitted it. I was like, look, these people are awesome, and they're doing just as much, if not more, for PulseChain adoption. But it just wasn't the way I was going for with that tweet.
Well, you want to keep your tweets. You don't want to go all over the place with them. You want to keep them as concise as you can.
It would have just been this fucking. I said the list would have gone off the page, bro. if I'd started listing, because there's so many NFT projects that are actually really cool that have launched on PulseChain already. We've got a very, very, very vibrant NFT ecosystem. And one of the things I've noticed about the NFT bros, it's something that I think a lot of us can learn from, is they don't have this attitude of, oh, if I help you promote your NFT project, then my NFT project is going to suffer. They do not do that ever. They actually show up and help promote other people's NFT projects, and go and have a look at how that is going. All of their projects mint out. All of their projects have healthy secondary sales. Also, this is yet another example of how, if you have this attitude of like this hyper competitive, no, don't even go and look at other shit. I don't think it's the optimum strategy. I think this is another example that supports my attitude on this.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah, man. Exciting stuff. Really exciting stuff.
Hey, did I
mention I'm launching an NFT project? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, no, dude. I was going to say, do we have any photos from the HEX meetup that we can show? There was some good photos.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Do we have any that we can?
Yeah, there's something in chat. Yeah, go in the Signal group. Go in our Signal group for organizing these streams.
It's not connected up to this.
Oh, okay. Let me see if let's talk about something else, because this might take me a while to boomer my way through this, and I'll try and get that set up for us.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let me think. What else has been going on? Is there anything in the chat that we need to address? Let's have a look. Look in the chat. I was going to say, like, as far as, did you hear that news that I think is it GoPulse that they're going to come up with a local application that you can run to start and end your HEX stakes from like your desktop? So not like
that's smart.
Yes, because
it takes away then it's
hosting.
You are actually running the code. Like that's the and dude, Ivan on Tech called this sister channel to when I'm streaming with Crypto 7. Ivan on Tech called this shit. He said, if they ever start coming after the websites and the hosting and the people who are the web masters, all they'll ever have to do is you create a simple app that just literally loads that same website front code in an application that you have to download and install and run, and
free open source.
And then it's no longer it's the same shit, but it just puts that, it makes it even harder. Then they have to go to court again and say that and then that one's nonsense. That one's like,
but
dude, the user is doing everything. What the fuck?
You can't stop. I don't know.
You can't stop people running software on their fucking computers, like
on your own computer in the privacy of your own home.
Yeah, it's game over. At that point, it's game over.
It's too hard.
Let's think about this a little bit deeper. Is there another thing that they can say?
Too hard to police. So that's why that one wins. Unless
can they? What about the spot where you download that software from? Can they attack that? Because that software is hosted somewhere, right? Like, as in, oh no, sorry, you can put it on file hippo and shit like that. You like you said, you just
GitHub.
You just GitHub the shit. You just
or
fucking
GitLab or GitHub is owned by.
See ya,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah.
See ya.
No, it's too. There's
Dude,
too many
yeah.
options.
And then, by the way, whatever they come up with as like their next threat vector, you just
Dude, you could run your
decentralize
own
it again,
GitHub on
decentralize.
Synology. You can run your own version of GitHub on Synology.
Yes, I knew that. Yep.
So I've been keeping an eye out for. Oh, do you know what I saw on Synology? They've got
my Start 9
actually
lets me host everything, like same deal. It's like, yeah.
But someone has written an AI chatbot for Synology, so I haven't looked into it.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, so I think you have to hook it up to your AI.
Oh, so it uses an API to still talk to ChatGPT or something.
Yeah, so but you're using the Synology chat. You know how Synology has got its own chat?
I didn't know that.
So there's an app that you can just, and the server is your Synology, and then you can just use that. So you'd be able to use the chat app on your phone if you could connect it up to an AI.
Oh wait, does that allow you to chat with your actual friends? So rather than downloading something like Signal?
Yes.
Holy shit. And then you know that there's no like, oh, what if they
they can connect up to you're running the server. So they can just connect up to your server. They just have to download, you just have to set them up on your server as a user.
Bro.
Like you have to set them up. So
that's elite. And what does it use, like Mastodon or something, or is it custom front end? Like, sorry, custom app.
You have to use what's that? No, use their app. You can use their app.
So, but is that on the App Store? Like, if I said to my friend, like, hey, just download this app off the App Store.
Look it up.
Here's what you do to connect, and then we're talking through my own server, bro. That's elite.
Yes,
they had something similar to that.
You can do that with Signal anyway, dude. You can run your own Signal server.
I like Start 9 did actually have that. They've got this one called Cups. And the reason it's called Cups is because they're talking about the cups with the string that children used to use in the olden days to talk to each other. And that's peer-to-peer transmission of a message, right? So they called it Cups. And it's like similar idea. You're running the server, so no one can F you over. It's encrypted. So you just know that, well, there are always ways that someone can like intercept, sort of, like, as in nothing's 100% in privacy and security, but there's less trusted elements. Let's say it's trust minimized as compared to like using Signal or whatever. Threema. I like Threema, by the way. Threema's good.
There's a chat app on an operating system that I was using. I think it's actually called HEX, right? It's called HEX chat. And I think it's like an encrypted end-to-end chat service that's on Linux. Someone look that up. Is that right? HEX chat on Linux.
I don't know it, but I'm downloading these photos. So some of these are really funny. Okay, I've got enough of them now. I think that's all of them. Yeah.
So I guess that whole AI thing with the Synology chat, if you had an app, if you have the Synology chat, I think he wrote the code that links up that chat, that Synology chat to your AI server. And then you could just like use the chat bot to chat with your AI server, if that makes sense. But you have to be running your own AI server. Like, it's not.
Oh, okay. So as long as you're running your own local AI, then you've got all bases covered.
Yeah.
You run the AI somewhere, you run that chat system.
But this
there,
shit is so clunky at the moment.
Do you know
so
what?
Clunky.
I spent literally weeks, 1 week full-time every waking hour, and then the next week, like maybe 80%, 70, 80% of my time setting up local AIs because I was like, fuck censorship.
What you use?
Oh, there's so many different. I would just go on like on GitHub and just get the AI. But I'm talking dude, I was setting up everything, like the ones that do like text to voice, voice to text, image, changing the language of images, like language of videos, so that the video is speaking in a different language. Like face swapping tech, fucking everything, cool. Dude. I was doing everything, right? So like the chatbot shit was just one of the AIs that I was setting up, and I put a lot of effort. And it's good that I've got these AIs set up now. But the thing that pains me is ChatGPT 4 is so far advanced compared to anything that you can do locally. It's just I can't.
Yeah.
Like I just have to use it, even though I don't want to have, because the two things is privacy, like restriction on what you can do. I want to be unlimited. I want to follow my ethics, not theirs. And I want the privacy of like people not necessarily having a log of everything that I'm searching about. Of
course. We all want that. So, we all want that.
So for privacy and for anti-censorship, I wanted to have all my AI shit local, and I was doing a pretty good job of it. But these LLMs, man, ChatGPT 4's so far ahead of the game. I just have to use it.
So I've been listening to Mark Andreessen a bit in the last like month, and he talks about how he's trying to get his son into AI because his vision of it is that it's going to be a personal assistant. It's like you're going to have 140 IQ personal assistant with you throughout your life, who's going to know what you like, understand the things that you're good at, things you're not good at. Well, when I say understand, it's going to be catered to you, right?
That's just going to be one. That's one of numerous applications of what AI.
It's going to be like, it's going to be able to give you advice as far as like health advice. Like if you're not feeling well, it's going to give you probably better advice than the doctor.
Yep.
Because it's going to understand like the historical context of all the things that you've had.
That shit pretty much already exists. Like, as in, people are already using their chat bots for that shit, pretty much. But like, so, was this guy implying that was like the dominant use case or like the only use case? Because I think that's very like. No,
he was saying that that's like, because he's all about the positive side of it, because there's so much like negative. You know how like Elon Musk is like, hey, we need to pump the brakes on AI, right?
Yeah,
and he's got his well, you should listen to Mark Andreessen talk about it, because he's got the counter arguments for why.
That doesn't sound like a counter though. That just sounds like a use case that would be pretty cool. Like that doesn't put my mind at ease.
That's not a counter. He actually
over.
has counter. He actually has counter arguments for why AI is something that we should.
Can you send me a link, or do I just search for this name? Mark.
Just look up Mark Andreessen. Anything
spelled with a C or a K or what?
Mark with a C, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Andreessen. He like I think he made like Netscape or something. He was like an early internet guy.
Random.
And he's really smart dude. And just look up any of his long form chats that he's had in the last like 6 months, and like just go listen to them all.
I'm literally searching it right now.
Yeah, he's smart dude. So it's just good to get both sides of the argument, because he's like,
I want to hear the non-doomer, because I've not heard anyone. Like, I've only heard doomers that have, like, AI doomers that have reasonable points.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone counter successfully. So this is,
he's probably the best I've heard for counter arguments that don't sound like he's on the side of whichever.
In terms of like the people who counter, who are like financially incentivized to say that it's going to be fine.
No, the ones who are like more ridiculous, like who was it? There's someone out there who was saying like, well, if the AI is smarter and kills us and it's better than us, then so be it. Like, that's just evolution.
Like an evolution comment.
Yeah. It's like you know. Well, I'm not on that side. I'm on team people. But I mean, that's an interesting argument, man.
If you wanted to go the spiritual, like if you want to take that, like that deeply spiritual attitude of if something comes and just wipes out humanity, then it was meant to be, sort of thing. Like, as in, you know what I mean? Like, as in,
I think one of Mark Andreessen's arguments, or I think I don't want to like mess it up and say the wrong thing, but from memory, I think one of the arguments he makes is that every time some big new thing comes along, whether it be like the printing press or like nuclear, the nuclear bomb or whatever, everyone's like, it's all like we're all going to be dead in like 3 weeks.
What, and like, I agree with that, but it doesn't actually prove
and his
that
argument
it's
was
that doesn't
like,
prove it's going to be safe. That all that means is it just says, hey, look, in the past, people have like got scared over nothing. So this might be.
Definitely butchering.
This might be another example of that. That does not prove that it's safe, dude.
Whatever. Let me just say, I'm definitely butchering his argument. Whatever his argument is, it is like levels above what I just said.
All right. Well, I'll definitely take a listen.
Yeah, you should listen to it from him. I'm just.
What would be even better is, are there any debates between him and some of the like big names in the Doomer AI, it's going to existential threat, it's going to take out humanity camp, that are like, if it was him versus what's that? There's a guy. You know what? I'm just going to add the term debate.
If he's only got like, there's only a handful of things he's done in the last 6 months, and you should probably just listen to all of them, because they're. One of the arguments he makes is like, how are they going to make the chips? Like what? Like how are they? Like they've got no AI has no ability to make chips. Bro. Like that's one of his arguments.
That's super weak, dude.
Well, I'd like to know how AI makes chips,
dude.
When there's a chip shortage,
bruh. So
how?
So that issue only exists at one critical juncture in this entire thing, where humans have the ability to like all say no to to doing what the human would have to be required to allow. So heaps of shit is automated already, right? Including like drones and fucking those dogs with the cannons on them and shit. You only need one human to be able to be manipulated by the AI to go and close that gap for them, and then it's over. So think about an entity that is smarter, like 10 to 100 times smarter than the smartest human to have ever existed. Their ability to manipulate a human would just be like not even worth debating that it can, whether it can or can't happen. And then you would need literally every human to agree and stay mentally strong to that shit. Imagine if the AI was like threatening your family, like whatever, right? Like they've got unlimited tactics that they could use when they start interacting with humans to convince, with either incentive or threat, to get a human to go and bridge the gap that they require for it to become a fully automated process to the point where they don't need us anymore.
When they don't need us anymore, wouldn't they just leave the planet?
That's one that I brought up previously that I was parroting from someone else, that it could advance so quickly that that we get like ignored, and then they just go off.
Why are they sticking around this shithole?
Well, the problem with most people when they try to counter the AI thing, they're like, well, it's like a maybe. It's like, well, what if they're friendly? What if it's friendly towards us? What if they see us like gods because we technically created them, and they treat us like they're like that they respect us because we created them? What if they don't notice us and we're just like ants, that they're so much smarter than us that we're not? None of those things.
Yeah, I think it's worth. I think you'll get a lot.
They are dice. They are dice rolls, though. They are like, okay, maybe we won't get fucking annihilated. That's not good enough. Like that's not. But yeah, like I'll definitely, dude.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
definitely take a look at
check
this
it
guy's
out.
content.
Mark Andreessen, dude, the guy's legit. He's a legit like brain.
Mhm.
He's got you know when you like find
That are just
people
galaxy
on the
brain.
internet who are just like fucking smart as, and they've got long form discussions, and then you just binge listen to them for like, I was doing that like a few weeks
Nice.
back with this guy.
Yeah, cool.
So, let's check out these photos.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Awesome.
So you've got that one up.
Sammy,
I just wanted to make sure. So okay, so
we left that on the.
sorry, Sammy. So that's Richard cut out with Sammy. That's is that Jackson wearing the bonnet, the Richard Hart Burberry bonnet. That's Dozza wearing the Burberry bonnet. That's Klaz wearing the Burberry bonnet. That's Sammy wearing the Burberry bonnet. That Burberry bonnet's a fucking whore, bro. It's like doing the rounds. That's cool, a really cool photo. That's a cool photo. That's a really, really cool photo. That's the Perth gang with Sammy. Oh, cool. Look at this. That's a group photo.
We need to zoom in. Can you zoom in?
I think it's going to... Oh, wait. We'll just go like this. Here we go. Click. Oh, shit. One sec. Get a little bit more width to this without cutting anyone off. That's about as good as I can get it.
I can see.
So Richard's cutout was there. Dude, I don't know why this cutout always reminds me of Max Kaiser. It's like, that is the sort of shit that Kaiser normally wears. Like, that's his style. So whenever I see that cutout, I always think Max Kaiser. It's really weird. So yeah, check this out. This is obviously the people that went to the Sydney meetup. You can tell it's a bear market by, like, Sydney has a population of, so to put this in perspective, I think we had more people at the Perth meetup that Jexa and I organized at the peak of the bull. I'm pretty sure we had more people at our meetup in a city that has like 1/100th of the population. Like,
Sammy did an amazing job though. In you know.
Oh yeah, dude. No criticism. I'm just saying as a sentiment analysis, like this. Yeah. Imagine a Sydney meetup in the bull market. You would have like fucking 10 times as many people at least. Dude,
yeah, hundreds maybe.
Some of the, like, at least sort of 4 or 5 of these people came from not Sydney. Like, there's a guy that in here that came from Italy. There's 4 or 5 people from Perth. So it's like they're only like maybe 80% or less of this meetup was actually people from Sydney. What the fuck? Like,
there were definitely some Melburnians in that group as well.
I mean, there should be, right? Because they're an easy trip. And then they did a boat trip as well. So there's a boat trip photo. That's it. So that's all the photos that I managed to get out of the group. Boom. Very cool. So let's shift gears. And what else did we? Was there another topic that when we were talking about the photos? Was there something else that we were going to do? Oh, the chat. The chat. Is there any interesting shit in the chat that we need to address or something? Oh, and I wanted to bring up charts. I wanted to look at, bro, come on, go HEX. Let's go.hex.com. Let's fucking go. This is
go pulse.com. I was going to say go pulse.com/HEX is like an interface you can connect your wallet to and start and end stakes.
It's just all HEX, it's all PulseChain, it's all go, it's go.this, it's go.that, it's go pulse.this, it's go in the fucking go, it's the go girls, it's the go gadget, it's the fucking go gadget arms, go gadget candles. Like, this is it. This is how we fucking do it. Look at this. I'm gonna stop swearing. I'm gonna share this. You'll need to pull it up because I don't have admin on this channel. Bro, I swear on my life, I drew this flag before this thing broke out. So I just, when we were talking earlier, in fact, I remember it was when you started talking about people that were kind of like out of line on streams. I was like, doodling this flag, and this thing is broken out. So by the way, guys, I don't make forward-looking statements on price. However, I'm told by Wall Street guys that flags fly at half-mast. So theoretically, this technical pattern would take HEX to 0.4 of a. So this is EHEX, by the way. So EHEX, if this pattern plays out, EHEX could actually be back to a fucking third of a cent. Or whatever. No, sorry, it's already at a third of a cent. It would be whatever, man. Yeah, whatever, dude. So this is good.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see it there.
And I'm going to zoom out a little bit, guys, just so I'm not painting a deceptive picture here, because HEX really has taken a fucking battering, right? Like, so in fact, let's go right back to the, so this is sort of August. And so we've just been sort of meandering down. And so this pump, even though it looks really good, man, like it's really, really, really good. The TD count on the daily just, so check this out. TD count got to the 9, printed the 9 candle, and now we're green 2 above a green 1. So TD traders would have actually entered this trade here. As soon as this candle was above the close of that candle there, because of this green arrow, they would have entered here, and they would already be up. So this pump, I don't know, whatever this is, 10%, 13%. But if you look at it like, okay, it was this day here. So this pump has only reversed the paper loss of this month. So 2 weeks ago, you could have bought HEX at the same price. So I don't want to just zoom in on that end part and make it look like, oh my God, like we're pumping so hard. It's all like you guys fucked up if you didn't buy the shit. We're still at the bottom, but this is looking promising. That's a powerful move.
What do you think is going to happen between now and the end of the year with Bitcoin?
Oh, bro, bull vibes. That happened with that false start with the ETF. There's this narrative that I don't 100% agree with this narrative, but this dual narrative has spawned, or it's a narrative with two components. One is, look at how hard this pumped on fake news. Imagine how hard it's going to pump when the real announcement comes out that the ETF is actually approved, which will inadvertently, which will almost certainly happen at some point. So I didn't mean to say inadvertently, that's the wrong word. So the other part of that narrative is this has shown how able Bitcoin is to pump, i.e., how much economic energy was waiting on the sidelines to go in relative to the liquidity available. Reasonably thin liquidity, heaps of people waiting to buy, right? Now, those statements are very reasonable. They're very reasonable, and I sort of agree with them, but I think there's a little bit of framing going on there so the parts that they're not telling you when they present those narratives is, and jump in if you wanted to comment on that before I pass to sort of like debate against those narratives. But we were coming through a period of incredibly low volatility. And what that means is, after really, really long times of low volatility, most people stack the book close to the price because they want their orders to get filled. Not many people want to have their orders so far away from the price action that it's unlikely to get filled in any sort of reasonable time frame. So you end up with a distribution of liquidity that's stacked around the price and then very thin as you move away. So that gives a false perception of overall thin liquidity for Bitcoin, because that people are like, look how far this pumped. But it pumped, most of that pump went through an incredibly thin book, right? And I'm talking the global book. So now that people have seen that that thing can go and pump, Bitcoin could just pump $2,000 in 5 minutes, more people will actually start to put orders that are spread further out. So we'll see that liquidity build, and that's a good thing, but it's just might mean that next time the pump won't be as crazy high. And
have you paid any attention to ThorSwap?
Not yet. But I needed to talk to you about that. Thank you. Thank you. I need to talk to you about that shit, dude. 100%. But I'll just quickly finish.
HEX is pumping before our eyes.
Yeah. So I'll just quickly finish the other. So that's the counter to, oh wow, look at this. It's going to be so glorious. It's like, well, actually, maybe not, because maybe people will start to stack the book a little bit further out. And the other one is, it doesn't, just because this one pumped the price to high heaven, when the real announcement drops, we could be in a slightly different market regime. There could be different cofactors. There could be different sentiment. So other factors may have changed that make it different enough that the real news might be dropping in an environment that doesn't have the same effect. So those are the two counters. So two plausible statements. I think that they're reasonable. I think that I don't hear people saying that shit on the timeline. I think these guys are fucking idiots. That's stupid. That's not the case. I think they're reasonable comments to be making. But then as I thought about them more deeply, I was like, okay, where can this attitude go wrong? Where is this not a complete picture? And I hope I've managed to fill in those gaps and make that. But overall, dude, I'm more bullish than ever.
Yeah. I'm bullish as well. The one thing that I keep thinking about is just the conflict that's going on, like war and stuff.
Dude, it did nothing. It did nothing. Dude, it did.
No, but I mean, generally, war makes people feel.
But it hits up front. It hits up front. The possibility of World War III entered everyone's minds as soon as all that shit went down, and then it gets priced in. Bitcoin didn't flinch, bro. So it's like, you know how typically
but
when something that people are fearing happens, prices can actually go up because people were already fearing it, and they're like, oh, okay, now we're dealing with knowns.
Maybe.
So World War III breaking out could actually make the price go up because everyone's already fearing it happening. Like
I guess I'm
not guaranteeing that, but it's possible.
No, but the point that I want to make in relation to this is that part of the market cycle where everyone's just buying, I'm dubious whether that would happen under, like, in a situation where people have that fear, like there's that fear that things are uncertain, because when things are uncertain, people are conservative with their money. They want to do the conservative.
I'll take the other side of that. I'll take the other side of that, definitely. So I'm basing this just on a few very small things that I think I would like your comment on whether you think these are hard hitting. One, CEO of BlackRock coming out saying that Bitcoin is a flight to safety asset, right? So priming people's minds that is something worth buying when there is uncertainty, like the situation you are talking about. Two, Bitcoin literally did not flinch. Literally did not flinch as all of that. Dude, people's timelines were just larping out. It was like, people were like, I don't want to see this shit. It's just all I get on my timeline. I know a dude that rage quit Twitter. I know a dude who rage quit Twitter, like a well-known Bitcoiner, deleted his Twitter account, maybe not permanently, because he was like, all I see on there is all this war stuff. I'm not about it. Like, I don't want to see it. I deleted Twitter. And so, but Bitcoin was just like, see ya. Like, it didn't flinch. So, and then I think I had a third reason, but what you're saying is logical, is definitely logical. Like, if there's a time of really high uncertainty,
and I'm not married.
And we're just asking questions, right? You're just asking. questions.
I'm not married to that point of view, by the way. I'm not married to it. I'm.
You're just asking questions.
Be the case.
Are people going to be willing to buy what is still a tech risk asset, sort of or there's still that element to it in an environment that is scary, real genuinely scary? And I'm I think yes. I think the FOMO. Oh, I remember the third one that I had. I think part of the reason why the prices have not gone down lately, and we've only seen prices go up. Everything that I care about anyway, HEX, PulseChain, Bitcoin. We ran out of sellers, dude. Like this, that's, you know, when markets bottom and you just run out of sellers, and you've just literally only got diamond-handed mofos left. So it wouldn't actually matter. So you remember how I was talking about market regime in terms of the news dropping, fake versus real on the ETF? Yeah. We have a situation where if we truly are at this like diamond floor where it's just only diamond holders, then it does not matter what the news is. You could literally say, oh, this thing just happened where like unless it's like internet kill switch, solar flare sort of stuff. You get to that bottom where there's just no sellers.
No one's going to sell.
So
yeah,
like just
the price won't go down. But the question is the price going to go up? That's
look. I'll admit that nothing that I have said throughout this whole thing proves that it's not proof, but this is just the things that I've been thinking of, because man, I don't want to get caught on the wrong side of this. Like as in terms of if it goes up, like what this chart here is doing right now. I took the attitude, I am not going to get shaken out at the effing bottom. I would rather take more downward pain than so I did my risk, what is it called? Regret minimization. I was like, if this thing goes down, am I going to be as upset as if I bail and then things go up? And I'm like, no, that would be the ultimate arrow through the heart, bro.
No.
Imagine going through the entire bear market, holding HEX and all these other assets,
and then
down 99%.
Right now. No way.
And then bailing out and then seeing the shit shoot. Dude,
that's not a risk I'd be willing to take.
I am not willing. Dude, I would be like,
no way.
I would just be distraught, bro. I would be on the floor. Yeah. Just, I don't think you could.
If you've waited this long.
No amount of coke could combat that, bro. That is like,
no.
I wouldn't be able to frame that in a way that isn't disastrous. I would have to just, I don't know what I would do. I literally don't know what I would do. It's just, that would just be, imagine it, dude. Imagine it. You've just got completely wrecked by a bear market. Just paper losses out the ass to like 99% of your fucking net wealth. And then you finally, like, you're like, oh man, this world situation is really bad. I better secure some of the bag into some thing just in case this thing goes down further, and then you sell into stables or something and just watch this thing take off like
that's
it is
not
right
my,
before us. No way.
No, that's not my. That's not
no
what.
way. I'm
like
not doing it, bro. Never. I'm not
that's
doing
not
it.
where I'm not. I haven't got like a logical conclusion that is you need to sell your bags because there is war. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like it could, like it's possible, it's feasible that, you know, the uncertainty that comes about when there's this type of thing, because just bear in mind what is going on right now in the way that it's going on with like Israel and Hamas is, it's sort of like hasn't been this bad between those two for a long time.
Yeah.
Like for many years. So it's sort of a bit different because just because of that, and just because of Israel and you know,
sorry, dude, I have to
the
admit,
connection that they have to the money markets. When I say the Israel has to the money markets and connections and all sort of stuff, it's like a different sort of scenario. So you know, I'm not trying to fight anything.
Dude, I just realized I do need to apologize. You correctly identified. I need to point out that I was taking my attitude and applying it onto someone who's not in. Like, so effectively, like if there was someone who's not in, but they have the same like foresight of what, which maybe doesn't exist, because maybe if they're not in, they're not feeling that pain, and in terms of the reverse wreckage, and then the reverse wreckage or whatever. But so I just know that for me, I would never be underexposed to these assets at this period. And if there were other people who were on the sidelines or new to crypto who somehow magically had that same attitude, then they would be buying, right? So, and then that would be what makes the price go up. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch. I'll admit that's probably a stretch, because that attitude that I've got of that, hell no, I am not going to miss this pump. Maybe someone who's not down 99% wouldn't have that same like hyper strong attitude about it. Maybe.
Yeah, because you have seen where you've been. Like, you've seen where your bags have been.
Yeah, dude. I didn't just see it.
You've
I
seen it
felt
with your
every
own
dip.
eye-
I
with
felt
your own
every
eyes.
decline. Like in
We
my
all felt
eye, in the
them.
stomach ache behind my eyes. Like, it's just.
We've all felt them. We've felt all the dips the whole way,
Yeah,
the whole
man.
way down. And I'm going to enjoy every bump on the way up. I'm going to fucking enjoy
yeah,
it
dude.
so much, man. I'm really going to enjoy it. I'm going to be like doing, those laughs when you just like by yourself. You're like,
Just get the top
Yes,
hat. Just
that-
get
that-
the top hat
that's-
out. Like
I
sit in a
would-
rocking chair
Yes,
with
I'll
a
be-
fucking pipe and just like
walking around with an unlit cigar. That's
Do you know every single person that has bought Hex and Pulse through this last few months is worthy of the pumps, like when they come. It's you know what I mean? That as a group we're making that shit happen. It's going to be glorious.
Yeah, if you've been around for a year in crypto, or if you've been around for 2 years in crypto, in Hex especially, if you've been around for the last 2 years and you're still here and you're DCAing and you're doing like the thing, you've paid your dues.
Yeah,
Like
bro.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
there
you've
are
paid
people
your
that
crypto
came in.
dues.
They came into Hex at like and bought in at like literally just after the top or on the way down, like early on the way down, and have literally been they have never experienced their Hex bag being in profit for like literally 2 years. And so though I consider those people to be more G than me. You get what I'm saying? Like that's more gangster than having just getting chopped up and wrecked and just paper wrecked. And like I bought all the way down and as well, like all the way. I bought all.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the criticisms of that same guy that was like attacking me on stream. He seems to think that because he bought once, bought early, and staked it all for like 15 years, that makes him like better than me and better than other people that are in the community, and that he was giving me shit for being like underwater. And I'm like, the reason I'm underwater is because I bought all the way up and bought all the way back down. So you're saying that you bought once and then never bought again, and now you're claiming that makes you more of a hexagon than me? Like, I don't want to even play that game because it doesn't make sense to me. I don't have like this person's more of a hexagon, this person's less a hexagon. I don't do that dumb shit. But if I did, I think someone buying like the entire fucking chart and just painting the chart all the way up, all the way down, wouldn't you say that makes you more like enthusiastic, more convicted, more like you're participating more, you're injecting more capital into the asset? Like, surely. But so that was weird. And and that's why I'm down bad. That's why I'm down bad in Hex, is because I had such high conviction that I was just buying it the entire fucking time, and continued to all through here, luckily.
You and me both, man. You and me both. And I think it'd be fair to say that a lot of people in the chat as well.
Yeah,
lot of people in
and
the
actually,
chat have
maybe PulseX
DCA.
people need a shout out here, because that one is particularly tragic as well. PulseX people who like have basically just done a similar thing, where just they buying it relentlessly all the way down to negative 90% on an asset that's new as well. So you know how normally new assets perform quite well. Their downside potential is usually not that crazy. That you've got limited downside potential because it's just so fucking new. It's like you don't have bag holders that just unload relentlessly.
I actually bought that. I've bought
Oh yeah.
PulseX on
I wasn't buying
I
it.
bought it in the last
I wasn't
month.
buying it on the way down,
because
but
I
I bought
thought-
it once it got to 90% down off base sack. So like point.
Yeah, I bought it
Yeah,
90%
when
down.
it was at 90% down, I was like, The most it could go down is another 90%. So I'll just buy it. Like,
I bought like good bags as well, like good
Yeah.
good bags.
Yeah.
It was
do you know what was very difficult? Do you know what was
I just
very
think
difficult
that-
for me?
it's a long-term vision that I have of it. Like, I mean, do you know what Uniswap just did this week? That's something we haven't talked about.
Bro,
KYC for Uniswap.
paid use. Did you hear about that?
I'll be so happy never to use Uniswap again.
I'm already living that life, bro. I'm never going to use those
out of principle.
shit ever again, bro. Fuck them.
Out of
Dude,
principle,
fuck them.
you know, I'm definitely not
bro.
going to KYC to use a decentralized exchange.
Dude,
No, thank you. That's not what that's not what that's all about.
Already red flagged out when they started like censoring HEX, and like it was always like we were sort of already looking at going, this is not true DeFi. Oh, when it got like all sort of VC investment and they started doing, we've got this one which is copyrighted, and then you guys can have the fucking hand me down secondhand bullshit when the license expires, and all of that was like already outside of the ethos. But this shit is next level, bro. Like next level censorship, next level not crypto ethics, not DeFi shit.
This is the crypto version of that Bud Light shit that went down. Like they're basically this is what they've done to themselves as far as crypto, like DeFi community.
Dude, worse. The Bud Light thing, I think they just failed to read the room. Whereas this is just like broken. Like just I don't even have a word for how bad this is. Man. It's literally the worst. It's literally the worst thing.
So I'd like to see them. Like I'd like to see,
bro. That shit is horrendous.
Oh no, I'm happy to see them go down. I want them to go. I want the powers that be to understand
that's not how we do
that you're not going to be able to kill DeFi. You can do what you like. We will just not adopt it. We will not use it. Do that stupid shit. We will not.
Yeah. There's a limit, right? Like so you know, people have this. We have this general problem that people care more about convenience than they do about privacy, right? And I say privacy because it's a great example, but apply it to whatever is important. If it's inconvenient, but there is a limit. There's a limit. And do you know what? For most people, that limit is, if I have to pay for this and I can get the same shit over here for free, I'm not paying for that shit. Provided that I'm not breaking any laws, let's say. And some people don't even have that particular fucking barrier. But let's say for a law-abiding citizen, provided that it's like, okay, I can use this DeFi protocol over here, or I can use this one over here. This one's paid, this one's free, and both of them are legal. What? Like, dude, it's so dumb. Like, how do they think they're going to get away with this shit? It's so crazy.
Dude, they're going to lose users.
Yeah.
They are going to lose users.
Also, people do care eventually about their... everyone has that limit, right? And we saw that with what happened with the nonsense that happened a few years back, where you saw that in different cities, they had their limit of what they were willing to put up with until they were like, enough's enough. That's no, we're going to riot. So it happens with all of this stuff as well. And I know that maybe people will be like, oh, this analogy is too extreme, but everyone has a limit, and people will...
Just like those Blade Runners in the UK.
You heard of those? People will they'll get stepped on to a point, and then they'll go, actually, you know what? I'm not having this. Particularly when there's a convenient solution.
Have you seen those Blade Runners, dude, in the UK?
Yeah,
Blade
I heard
Runners.
about that. I think, I heard about that.
With all the cameras.
They've got all these emission control.
They're cutting down all the cameras with angle grinders.
Yeah, because it targets poor people. It's like it creates...
It's the 15-minute
It creates a two-tier. It further magnifies that situation where rich people can afford to absorb any of the costs associated with whatever it is, and poor people just get left behind, or the wealth gap gets increased. It's just, it's not cool. So,
dude, I've got such a long list of books on my reading list at the moment.
dude,
it's
get an
insane.
AI to summarize it for you, dude. We don't have time for that. We need to build crypto. We need to build AI. You do not have time to be reading anymore. An AI should be reading you a bedtime story while you sleep in your regenerative chamber.
Actually,
I'm going to stop sleeping, bro.
I don't like. I need to say that I'm not actually.
You're listening.
Most of the time, I'm listening to it on my drive.
Even still, bro.
Just because I find it a very efficient use of my time.
I want the AI to create for me some kind of chamber that I can just go into, and it means that I don't have to sleep. I just literally just get rejuvenated, some kind of like hyperbaric, hypermetric, hyper fucking whatever. And
hang on, someone has just said that 15-minute cities are being trialled in Oz soon.
Not
serious?
If I can help it.
There are places in Oz it takes people 15 minutes to get to the toilet. That's how big their property is. What are these guys?
Wait, dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine you're on a farm? It's like then you're just not allowed to leave your farm. Like you get to the boundary of your property, and you're like, oh, I'm actually not allowed to go any further. Oh, bro, the rural communities in Australia have been fighting back quite a bit against, banks doing branch closures. They've been speaking out about that, and so the banks are not in good standing among rural Australian communities. And they've also been fighting back on like a lot of other kind of nonsense stuff to do with that stuff lightly related to that referendum that we just had. But what a waste of money that was. I hope this doesn't, dude, this doesn't become like the marriage one where it's like they just keep doing it until they get a yes. And the daylight savings one, they tried that. So typically, if they're running a referendum, it means they want a yes.
It was an absolute waste of money, by the way. It was a waste of money because mainly not because it was a waste of money because
we all knew it was going to be a no.
No, because the Prime Minister didn't try and get bipartisanship. So they didn't try and negotiate. They didn't have a constitutional convention. They didn't try and negotiate a referendum. A constitutional amendment that both sides of politics were happy with.
Yeah,
that the vast majority of the population agreed upon. They just tried to push through something that they thought they wanted to get through, and they were just going to try and push it through. And it's the wrong way to go about it.
On our DeFi show, on our HEX lecture, I'm on the record saying that it would definitely be a no. Do you remember? Well, I was like, I already know how this is going to play out. And I said, it's going to be a no because the majority of people fit into two categories. They're either closet racists that think that think that if they vote a yes, like that it's going to be, do you know what I mean? Like they've just misread the shit or they don't, or whatever. And they're just like, fuck that. But they won't say that publicly because they want to either virtue signal or not get trampled on by the people who do virtue signal. So they stay silent. But when they're in the privacy of a voting booth, they're definitely going to be voting a no. And then the other group is the people who actually read the shit and actually realize that it's just fucking nonsense anyway. It doesn't have any real meaning. Dude, they used the word voice like as if it has a technical definition with no explanation of what they meant by the word voice. Do you agree for them to have a voice? Bro, if you are going to waste tens to hundreds of millions of dollars, you need to get the wording, at least have the wording tight so that it actually has a fucking meaning. Are you joking me, bro? You just wasted everyone's time and money for this shit.
When we spoke about this a few weeks back,
crazy.
When we spoke about this a few weeks back, I said to you, I am in principle against any change that involves having more bureaucracy.
I remember you saying that. Yes.
And that's basically, I stand by that. We don't need more. We didn't need more. I'm happy for, needs-based help. We need to, I like living in a society where if someone has like real need, that we help those people.
Yeah.
I like living in that society, and I don't think that should be defined by race. I think it should be defined by
Russell
need.
Brand has an amazing job of articulating this concept that you're talking about of like, what would be a reasonable path forward for improving society? And he said, there's some basic ones that we should be doing, like definitely don't do this, definitely don't do this. This is unacceptable. Having politicians being able to insider trade, and that be legal for them, but not for everyone else. That's got to go immediately. Like that's a no-brainer. Get rid of that immediately. Like, so, and examples in both directions where he's like, we definitely want this. We definitely want to protect the vulnerable. We definitely want this. We definitely want these things. We definitely don't want these things. Let's start with basic sanity and then build from there with these ones that are like more difficult to know whether it's like that are more arguable of whether or not. By the way, I deliberately brought this chart up. I wanted to have a quick look at Bitcoin. This is the wick that happened. If you go down to a 15-minute chart, you'll see that this all happened within a 15-minute. The way up, in fact, I'm going to go to a 5-minute chart so you can see how quickly this happened. So this pump, yep, it's all in one 5-minute candle. The wick happened in the second 5-minute candle. So technically over a 10-minute period, the price of Bitcoin went from just above $28,000 all the way to just below 38. So from 28 to 30. So it did a $2,000 move,
2000.
which in percentage terms,
7%
in under 10 minutes. That is bonkers. And now, look, this is the good news here. I know, and I'll keep this super brief because I know that everyone in here is like, fuck Bitcoin. Like most of our viewers on this channel, they don't give a shit about Bitcoin. They think it's like old tech or whatever. But check it out. This was the catalyst for us to, because I've got this level here at 27,940. And now we're above it, man. We've even retested it with this wick here. And this is, so I don't like there being fake news, like objectively fake news, not the fake news that they talk about where they're just lying and saying it's fake news is actually real. This was fake news. This was an incorrect news article. I don't like that necessarily that was the thing that got us over the line to break the resistance and get us moving upward. But as a silver lining or like whatever you want to call it, like as a fucking bonus to the fuck up, like a slight, what do you want to call it? Silver lining, cloud silver lining, whatever. I'm not mad
Silver
about
lining.
it.
What are we now?
28,340. So yeah, man, exciting stuff. We need to talk about ThorChain. So
yep.
Tie up. Sorry, dude, we need to remember that because we're on DS. There's that clash situation that can come up.
I don't think there is anymore, actually.
Did they bail? Like, did they stop streaming that show?
No, I think that there's because of daylight saving it changed.
But doesn't
used
that
to
move
be
it for?
No, it used to be because the way it was before, we were close. We were like half an hour. If we went half an hour over time, like if we went till midnight, my time, I should say, then we clashed with them. But dude, we can wrap it up.
Let's end on this ThorChain thing because otherwise we're going to have this discussion in the green room because I need to know this. Let me just intro this by saying I have friends that are the people that everyone else lies about having, where they're like actual fucking people that are fucking rich that want to enter crypto. And they're like, they recognize that this is the right time. It's obvious to them now. Like they follow some of my shit and they're like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. We want to get in, but we want to know how we're going to get out. And even though I've said to them my usual shit, which is like, by the time you make stupid money and want to get out, the solutions are going to be plentiful. That's not good enough for them. They want to know that they want to understand the entire round trip of how they're going to get their money in and how they're going to get their money the F out before they even come in. So if we want to convince these dudes, and I want to convince these dudes, I need an answer to how, specifically to because I think there's lots of good solutions for getting money into PulseChain. I think the people who built the solutions, they focused on that. So like that was the focus. It was like, how do we onboard? I think less effort and less emphasis was placed on the exits. So, which is fine, right? Because onboarding is the primary thing.
Entry would, but wouldn't the entry and the exit be
You'd
the
think
same?
that,
Like,
but it's not. Like, as in, sorry. Sometimes, so I'll give you an example, right? Pulse LN, I think it's amazing. I think it's great. I love the fact that they've incorporated Lightning, Bitcoin, and stuff like that. It's much more expensive to leave PulseChain because of the way they've set up their Lightning channels. They've set up I should mention that this is how it was the last time I used it, which is going back a few weeks. So they may have improved this, but I was just noticing that if you wanted to go and use Pulse LN, which I recommend people look at, because what they've built is really good. I've heard really nice positive statements from others as well about them. If you're wanting to leave, though, and go from Pulse into Bitcoin, which is something I maybe want to do myself one day, it's very expensive. Like, it's very expensive compared to going the other way. So this was the thing that I think I surprised you when I said, when I was giving the percentages, I looked at them on a Twitter space. I said, let's just look at this shit live. Doing that shit was like 10%, which is huge. Like, that's a huge dent. That's a huge dent to your bag. Sorry. That was round trip. That was using it to get, that was round trip. Okay. Remember that 5%. That particular thing was for privacy. So it was to use it to go Pulse LN to get out into Bitcoin Lightning so that you could get some privacy.
Privacy is always going to be more expensive,
but 10% is still too much. Like, that's still fun.
Yeah. I don't know if there's, look,
it's pretty
for there to be a solution to that, for there to be a solution to that, there needs to be something on chain that happens on chain on Pulse.
Yeah, so I need to keep putting pressure on Spillways to add the relay.
I think that
but I told you it's that.
I mean, not necessarily that the relay.
They don't want to add,
but I think
they don't want to add the relay till they see the demand, and I don't believe there will be the demand until we either have the relay or a bull market. So it's like a chicken. It's chicken egg problem, whatever. So you wanted to tell me about ThorChain?
Well, well, you asked about it. I'm not sure how much it's relevant to this discussion, though. All it is a cross-chain, a high liquidity cross-chain protocol.
That could help, dude. That could absolutely help.
So if you want to swap from, let's say, Ethereum to, but PulseChain isn't on there yet. And when I say yet, I don't know that it's going to be on there, because there needs to be a big liquidity provider go on and provide liquidity on there for it to
at least
work.
one of the other chains. Is that? Oh, sorry. You said you actually do it with their token, and then everything goes through their token. Is that the deal? You provide liquidity.
I don't know enough about it, mate. All I know is that for high volume trades, let's say you want to go from Bitcoin to Ethereum, for example. Previously, you had some centralized options. Like, what was the centralized?
Change now.
No, but there was like the bridge. Not the bridge. There was a centralized option which was the BTC, Ren BTC.
Oh, yeah.
There was stuff like that, right? So, and aside from that, what did you have? You had to go to an exchange, a centralized exchange.
Wrapped BTC as well. Well,
So the difference with ThorChain is that you could go but for high volumes, you'd need to go to an exchange, right? For high volumes, if you were like talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, you would need to go through a centralized exchange. ThorChain now has very high liquidity for things like BTC and Ethereum. So it's very close to, when I say it's very close to trustless, it's not 100. There is like a very short amount of time, I believe, that you are relying on something. But
that's fine.
It's better than the centralized option. Like,
it's the only
it's better than the centralized option.
Even those
I
ones
guess,
like SideShift
you know?
and Change Now and stuff like that, technically you're still trusting them. Like, as in, if the
Yeah,
address
no,
that they
100% you are.
but what we're talking about here is Andreas Antonopoulos style. You want to minimize that time as short as
Yes.
possible. So if that timing is literally just the time that it takes for them to do a swap, that's way better than depositing onto an exchange, making the trade, and then withdrawing it out, because it's all happening in real time. So it's at least a step in the
So
right
what about
direction.
Coast? Coast is not something that I've looked into.
I actually started looking into that when I had that realization, which I also mentioned on one of our previous streams, where I was like, hang on a second. If I'm going to a bank account anyway, that's clearly doxed. Then why do I care if I'm KYCing? Yeah, sure, it's another third party or whatever, but like, I trust those guys enough. So I looked at Coast as an option for doing that stuff, and there was some. I hit a wall. Oh, Australian bank accounts, like, so where you choose your bank account, Australian banks are not on there, and so I talked to support, and they said that you have to use this other third party, I think it's called Wise or something, and you have to make an account with them, and they then have your bank account, like, as in that does that part.
Yeah. You have your bank account with Wise,
and then Coast pays when you're going in and out. You're going in and out to Wise, so it's an extra step. And I just dropped the ball. I couldn't be fucked setting it up. Like, as in, I was like, okay, I have to set up like another account over here, and then. So I didn't go all the way through, but that was what stopped me from immediately using Coast. But I've got an account with them now.
But if like Coast would be, if you're like, Wise is one of those, they'll give you a card, and then if you're traveling around, that might be a really good option for people. You know, but if you're talking about someone who's got a large amount of funds, what can't they just do OTC through an Australian exchange? If they're, I'm assuming these people are Australian.
No, they're not. So, it's not that they know how to get money into crypto. They want to know. They want to know for sure that they can get the shit out. Like, they want to know that they can take profits. They want to know they want to know that they can round trip the bag. Like, and I don't mean that in the like growth in price, not round trip. They want to know that they can not round trip the bag. They want to know that they can. That the path is clear of exactly how they're going to come in, make mad bank, and get the fuck out. Like, as in, not, and they probably wouldn't sell their entire bag, but they want to know that they're going to be able to. They don't want to get trapped in with huge sums of money and being like, oh, I didn't think about the exit, and now I've got like all this money in crypto, I can't get it out. So
let's all of the options. There's the bridge, the Pulse bridge, of course.
So what would you say? Like, how would you answer that question to someone? What have you seen that's like the best option? That's like the lowest fees, the best like has the best sort of like combined metrics of privacy,
Ethereum, privacy. I mean, dude, if you're coming from a bank account into an exchange, and then there's no, I mean, the privacy you haven't got privacy.
Don't assume that they're coming from a bank account. Like, as in, well, like. Yeah, don't make that assumption necessarily. But it just
in that case, I can't comment because I have no idea how that even, unless you're talking about someone with a sack of money, cash, like or gold, or like I don't even know how to answer the question, man.
When I
have to
don't worry about that
something,
part of it. Like, as in, don't worry about that part of it. Just in terms of the best ways to kind of like go to and from PulseChain that would allow, you know what, I'll put the shit on Twitter.
No, I would say there's the only ones I can see right now is you've got the Pulse bridge, but there's obviously fees attached with that.
It's one of the more expensive. I thought the official bridge was quite expensive.
there was the Zenify site.
Yeah, I've got
I think.
I've got a
I'm not
tab
sure if
open for that. I've got Thor swap. I've got
Yep.
Zenify, Houdini swap.
So I think we need to separate between privacy solutions and just cross-chain swap. Like, it's different. It's like a different. There's a Portal X swap. Have you looked at that?
Do you know what? I just realized maybe we can just assume it's from bank account to bank account. Maybe. Fuck, whatever. Portal X, I tried to use that once. It didn't work for me.
Oh, really? With Pulse?
I can't even remember what this. It was like right at the start, and I can't remember what I was trying to do. But it either wasn't working, or it was too expensive, or like, maybe it was at that time where they lost their partnership with some. Was it like because multi-chain went down, so like heaps of the paths disappeared, so it was just the only path was Change Now. So I was like, well, then I'm just going to clearly use Change Now because it's cheaper. Like, I think that was what happened. The
Change Now still
they used to have multiple paths, and then because that multi-chain thing rugged, the only path they had for the things that I was looking at was Change Now. And if you just went to the Change Now website, it was cheaper because Portal X adds a fee. It's a small fee, but it's still like why would you just pay more? So that I think was maybe the sticking point. I can't really remember perfectly well, but a lot of the things I've said in this stream is based on like technically outdated information. Things might have changed or improved. You get what I'm saying? Like my experience is not the current state of the tech. So, these are all good suggestions, man. Like, I think I don't think these guys don't want to be given like, oh, you can use this or this or this or this or they just want to be like, they just want like, hey, man, this is how annoying it will be. This is how many steps it is. This is the cost. Like, and this is what I believe this is currently what the community thinks is like the best way to do it in terms of the balance of privacy, risk.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Fees.
Tangent.
It's I know.
Because these
That's
things
why I haven't been able
on a day-to-day basis.
It's not an easy question to answer.
Yeah, it's like you have to be straight up with them and just say, hey, this is such a
dynamic
like
situation.
Nascent.
Like it's constantly
changing.
It's
so new that things
surely
change.
Someone must have an answer to this
daily
of like
basis.
a reasonable, like, hey, I do it this way. I've looked into it and I do it this way. Because I just don't have that answer.
Dude, OTC is the best. OTC deals with people. Like straight OTC deals with people is the best option.
I don't think
is the best option, man.
I mean, I can pitch that to them, but I don't think they want that.
What, they don't want to dox their wallet?
Yeah, I don't think they want like. I think they want to do it the real shit. Like I don't think they want like intermediaries and trust shit and rocking up to meets with like fucking suitcase of cash.
No. Don't mean you don't need.
So what are you saying? Is there a platform that does OTCs for you or something? OTC to me is like not the internet.
There's escrow stuff, man. There's escrow.
But that also gets
escrow
really
options
really quickly.
What if can you wrap some stuff in NFTs and then sell stuff on an NFT to a particular address?
So you're talking about doing some kind of like custom OTC shit.
Yeah, maybe we should talk about like there's options, dude. We can talk about like
I don't think these guys want like the real nerdy, like, hey, we've got this cool thing that we can do that's like fancy. They don't want to be fucked with any of that. They want it to be as close.
Because what they have to understand
maybe Coast is the answer. Maybe Coast is the actual answer. Maybe Coast is
exactly. But they should be aware that, I mean, I'm sure they're aware that if it's a larger amount, like you're saying, there's going to be slippage, and P2P or OTC is preferable in these situations because you actually get a better deal. Both people get a better deal. Because if they were going to sell on the market, they'd get a shittier deal. And if you're going to buy on the market, you're going to get a shittier deal. But if you just exchange with each other, you both get a better deal. It's like one time when I came back from Italy, I had some euros dude, I had some euros and I went to the local shopping center to go to those exchange rate places to change the euros into dollars, and the rate was really shit. Meanwhile, the person behind me waiting in line was going to Europe, and I just did a deal with them in the line, and we both got a better deal.
I just thought about this a bit more, and I think so. One of the reasons why they probably don't want that to be like the answer to their question is because they want the ability to be able to like take profit when they want at their leisure 24/7 in a way that is not like they don't need to organize it. They don't like, so while they might be coming in with mega scale, so this comment for the way in, maybe OTC is the way, but they still want the way out to be like take profits in whatever scale they want, whenever they want, like hopefully trustlessly, hopefully with some degree of privacy. And so for the way in, I think the OTC comment is fine for the way in, because they're probably just going to come in huge, like come in large and just get it back. But,
would they
for the way out, we need a...
When they're going out, on the way out, are they happy to go out into stables? Like as a measure, as a
I haven't interrogated that side of things. Like they want an answer to the question of like, what is the best way to go in and out? Is where I haven't asked them like, oh, would you consider this? Would you consider that? Would you consider that? They just want the answer, man. Like they just,
yeah. But when you want to be able to sell whenever you want, whenever it's the right time to sell.
They definitely want 24/7 access.
Offboarding, but offboarding into dollars into your bank account, for example, that like, you know, that might depend on other things that, you know, you need to manage. So having stable coins in the mix might be an option.
The shit works pretty well now. Like, as in, I've been doing shit where I can sell crypto and have the money in my bank account in the same, when I sit down to do it, before I stand up again, it's done. Like, as in, it's
yeah. Oh, instant. Me too, dude. Me too. My shit is instant. So, putting it in and getting it out. It's like,
so you don't need to. So you don't need to like like you don't need to go, oh, I'll store it in stables until I can get this thing out or whatever. You can just go straight to dollars if they want. But anyway, so like, I guess we've probably exhausted what we can get out of a discussion between us right here.
Let's wrap it up, dude.
If anyone watching has got an answer to this question for me so that I can pass it on to them, please hit me up. Also, I guess this can be my outro, I am going to make a post that claps at ThorSwap about adding PulseChain, even though we know it's not as simple as that, and that their answer is probably going to be someone needs to make liquidity. I think if there's enough demand for it, they will probably just provide the liquidity. So, and at least it gets us on their radar. So my call to action is please help me blow that tweet up. And so I'm going to do that now as soon as we finish the show. Please help me blow that shit up, get their attention, put your comments on there and say what it is that you would see as the value in having that option available to you. And let's try and get PulseChain taken seriously at all locations, especially where it matters. HEX is pumping its nut off. Love to see it. I'm hyper bullish. I don't really know what else to say. Been loving the crypto vibes lately. Like, as in, it really has become a much more enjoyable place to exist in now that everything's looking very up.
Awesome. Big thank you to every one of you 88 lovely people in the chat.
That's huge.
Thank you for coming along. We appreciate you, and thanks a lot, Tangent, for coming along.
Yeah, cheers, man. Oh, Jexa didn't make it. Jexa never made it
with us, man. No, he probably did a hammy.
You know what? I was in like an above average talkative mood. So like by having, I noticed my discussion with RG3 worked really well. And today as well, like, I think the more people you have on stream, the harder it is to actually have a discussion, because if ever, you know what I mean? It's like, it makes it harder. It just makes it harder. We do a good job of navigating it. Like, we do a really good job of navigating, I think. But I think sometimes these sort of 1v1 discussions are quite good.
They can be the best sometimes. I agree. Thanks,
Let's go
guys.
PulseChain.
We'll see you next time.
See